Hi everyone, it's me, Arielle, and it's Wednesday Warriors, and I think we have a really great topic for National Eating Disorder Awareness Week. We're on week 4 of our current rotation for this channel, and week 4 is all about maintenance. We talked about on week 1 pre-contemplation, we talked on week 2 about contemplation, and we talked on week 3 just last week about active change. This week about maintenance, we're discussing fighting, staying in recovery, ways to keep going, looking at strategies to keep looking forward, the importance of routine accountability, expressing feelings, building in activities away from the eating disorder. And again, it's a lot of information and discussion points all within one topic of maintenance. Basically, what that means is maintaining recovery. So I'm going to touch on as many as I can, and I do hope that you'll check out all the other videos that are up this week in regards to Eating Disorder Awareness Week, because we do have some really great stuff. Staying in recovery takes a lot of effort. It's a very important thing to make the decision within yourself and for yourself to recover, but the actions that back up your words and your determination are really what are going to lift you up and carry you away from the eating disorder itself. So it is important to put a lot of special perseverance into maintaining recovery, into the fighting, into the staying in it. And staying in it can be hard because we all have our bad moments. You know, we have traumatic things happen to us. We have the everyday bad things in life. And it can be difficult to stay in recovery when the eating disorder is sort of calling your name and trying to claw you back into the hole that you used to be into. And I mean, I know how that is. And I know that in recovery, most of us relapse at some point or another. And when I was starting out in recovery, I definitely relapsed myself. You know, I had been doing well and my weight was up and, you know, things were going fairly well. And when things got bad again, I did relapse. And, you know, we're talking about years ago here, but, you know, it happens to a lot of people. And it's really important not to beat yourself up for it and to remember that you still put a lot of effort into what you did so far. And if you relapse, stop focusing on the slip up and start focusing on how to get out of it and how to get back in the swing of recovery, because that's really what's important. If you keep harping on the failures of what you're trying to accomplish, you're not really going to be able to get any farther. And I'm proud to say that despite a couple of relapses that I had earlier on in recovery, I've been solidly, fully recovered for several years now. And prior to that, I was in recovery for several years. And it's a great feeling to have this be your normal life, that the eating disorder has absolutely no part of it. And you are just living day to day without thinking about stuff like that. It's amazing how much of your brain is taken up with eating disorder behaviors and thoughts and, you know, comparisons and all sorts of things like that. And how much space you free up for yourself and your family and your interests and your creativity when you're not constantly struggling with all of that stuff. As far as ways to keep going, surrounding yourself with positive reinforcement, having a really good support network. If you are going it alone, you're going to have much harder of a time than if you have people that are backing you up. Whether it's 2 people or 20 people, you need a support system. If you find a support system online, if you find a support system in a support group, if you find a support system in outpatient therapy, if you find a support system in your significant other or your family members, wherever you find it, stick with it. Let those people know when you need them. Don't be afraid to reach out and ask for help. Asking for help does not make you a failure. It makes you smart. It makes you a very intelligent person who truly wants recovery and isn't going to let anything stop them. A lot of people think that when they have to ask for help, it means they're failing, and that's just not true. People that know themselves very well and grow to know themselves very well know when they need help. I did a video way back about holding yourself accountable, and that's something that is really important when it comes to this maintenance of recovery. You have to be able to hold yourself responsible for the things that you do and don't do, and you have to be able to hold yourself accountable. If you can't hold yourself accountable, you need to invest in other people who can help you do that. For example, therapists, nutritionists, anyone in your treatment team. If you live with someone like a best friend or a roommate or a significant other, they can help you with this too, but they're definitely not professionals. So you want to keep in mind that there are going to be things that they're not going to be able to help you with in quite the same way. But they can help keep you accountable if you ask them to. And if they know what you expect of them and they're willing and able to do that, it can be a really important tool. Holding yourself accountable can be tricky when the eating disorder voice sometimes becomes louder than your own voice. But as long as you know that you're not quite ready to hold yourself accountable, and you can get other people like therapists and counselors and people like that to help you learn how to hold yourself accountable, you're starting out in a really great spot. I also want to talk about something that I call waiting out the storms, and it's really important to remember in recovery, especially when you are in a plateau period where you're doing better than you used to be doing, but you are not quite solid enough to let yourself go a little bit and be able to breathe in more of a way. The plateau period, is also when you're doing well, but it's not getting any better. And that can be frustrating. And I did do a video far in the past about that as well. But as far as waiting out the storms, when life comes at you full swing and you're stumbling back from the blow, you need to encourage yourself to sit still for a moment. Allow the feeling of being overwhelmed to pass. Allow a plan to form inside your head. Allow peace to attempt to permeate your muddled mind. One of the worst things that you can do when life comes at you hard is to rush right back at it in the same fashion. You know what happens then? A collision. Sitting back is a better bet. Maybe pick up the pieces and work on gluing them back together. If a storm is happening, you can't clean things up while it's still going on. You have to wait until it's over. You can't run out into the storm to fight it and expect not to be swept away by what's going on around you. You can't repair things during the storm. You have to wait until it's over. And then, when the worst is past, you can head outside again and try to clear things up. Waiting is really difficult for a lot of us. When you see the world around you being tossed about, it's not easy to just sit there and wait. It's so much easier to panic and run full force into it all. Resist the urge. Wait it out. The calm will come sooner rather than later, and then you can begin to mend what's been happening. I did a video in the past regarding triggers, and this is also really important dealing with maintenance in recovery, because inevitably we're going to get triggered in life, and we need to know how to deal with that, because we can't stop the world from going on around us, and we can't just put up barriers or keep ourselves in our houses because we're afraid of being triggered by going outside. So we need to learn how to deal with that stuff, and recovery is never going to be successful until we have learned to deal with those things. I've talked about bravery and boldness before, which are two words that I use to describe the most important tools needed in recovery. And I had written something that I called Bravery and Boldness a few years back, and I read it, I'm sure, at least on 2 different videos that it applied to. And I'd like to read it again for this video because it relates so well to this topic, and it's also a really important concept to keep in mind for National Eating Disorder Awareness Week. To look straight into the face of pain and declare that you will prevail is not merely a display of courage. Sometimes it's a true necessity. Getting thrown about in the waters of life is a circumstance that presents you with 2 options: thrash and swim and fight and reach shore, or let yourself drown. There is actually a middle option, but it's only a temporary solution. It is, nevertheless, better than drowning. And it is this: thrash and swim and fight and stay afloat until you can make it to shore. Sometimes the shore is quite far away, off in the distance, glimmering like an unreachable mirage, so you can't be expected to reach it simply because you want to. But in time, you'll make it, if you manage to stay afloat and not give up. So these are your options. Choose wisely. Bravery and boldness are the essence of being able to prevail. Bravery and boldness will not just follow you. You have to channel them. They won't seek you out, and they won't appear out of thin air. They may, in fact, seem to escape you when you need them most. You can't keep them in your back pocket, ready to pull them out at a moment's notice. Despite how elusive they seem, bravery and boldness can be learned, or found, and they can grow to be a part of you, so that the most you will have to do is tap into them when you have to fight your way in that troubling sea. You have to realize that they exist, and that they exist for you. You're not an unlucky one. You have access to bravery and boldness, even if it's been taking you a while to find them. You have to think of bravery and boldness like a limb or some part of your body. They are part of you. Our arms are always there, but sometimes we don't use them. Bravery and boldness are like that. When faced with a difficulty, problem, pain, trying situation, despair, depression, failure, fear, you have to remember that bravery and boldness are there, just like your arms or your legs. You know how people get so scared that they can't run, even though they have legs? Or how people get so scared that they can't speak, even though they have a voice? Bravery and boldness are like that. Don't forget to use them. And I don't want any of you to forget those two things, because they're extremely important, and they're extremely important in everyday life, especially in eating disorder recovery, when things are really coming at us full force and we're struggling a lot. I'm going to post some other videos for you. You can check those out in the info box. I have a bunch from years back that are going to apply to this topic. I hope you'll check those out if you're looking for something else to watch this week. And I hope you're all doing wonderfully well this week and all the other weeks to come. Take care, everyone. See you next time.